You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us. Hello. Welcome to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. I am Shannon Dias with Imaginative Media, joined by Shannon Brown from Open Door Healing and Shaman Mystical Crow from Sacred Temple Wellness. And we are here today to talk to you about holding space for yourself. And what does that actually mean? And it's sacred space specifically. We're always talking about, having a sacred space and things like that. But this one is specifically holding space for yourself and the things that can get in the way of that. And also some of the things that we do for it. So I guess I'll kind of start with just talking about you are a sacred space. So just the first step is kind of acknowledging that fact that you are a sacred space. So, you hear people talk about like what you put into your body and all these different things and everything, right? Well, you are inside, outside, the whole of you is a sacred space. So part of it is learning how to look at yourself that way, and honoring your body, your spirit, and honoring that space and doing things for yourself that you would do for other people, because it's a lot easier to do it for those other people. And so it's kind of acknowledging that, okay, I am the sacred space. And then how do you do that? How do you find, that sacred space for yourself? And when we were talking a little bit before this, I was actually mentioning, so as a practicing witch, I find myself right now struggling to find the time to do the things that I would normally do. And so I still do things. I just do them not in what you would consider, I guess your typical fashion. A lot of people that have these ideas of witches and what they do and everything else, sometimes it's just like, clear the sacred space. I need you to clear the sacred space. Thanks. Okay, bye. Like sometimes it's as simple as that, because that's what you've got time for in that second. That's the only space you have in your brain. So I think that's part of it too, is just acknowledging what you actually have time and space for versus what you want to have time and space for. Like I love when I have an hour to sit and spell and, get out all my various books and things and really work the magic through it and be very intentional and specific about it. But sometimes all you have is the intent, and you can't do all of those little things. So I guess I still say, let's start with that. Like, what are you doing to honor that sacred space for yourself? What does that look like?
I would say for me, first off is like, I just got back from a vacation retreat and it took me 3 days to unpack my suitcase, which normally I would have it done like that night, right? And I did have all my clothes washed, but all the stuff that I brought back and everything. And then I piled it on my desk in my office and it's like my meditation room or whatever. And I was like, holy crap, there is too much stuff again. And I do periodically, it seems more and more, I will take everything out of my office, all the paintings, everything except what I absolutely need, like the pen and the journal, and just sit in the open space, right, with nothing on it. But then it slowly comes back in. And I'm thinking again today, there's too much stuff here. But then when I sat down this morning, there's still too much stuff here because I just haven't found time. I'm like, this sitting in this chair, looking out my window at the beautiful trees, this right here is my little space right here. I don't have to, I can shut everything else down. I can take 3 deep breaths and just ask, what is it that you need right at this moment? Especially when my mind starts going, rah, 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 you got this and this and this. Just taking those 3 deep breaths and more if I need to, and asking myself and my body, what do you need right now to be in joy? That's the thing. I mean, I'm adding that to be in joy, because obviously when my mind's going chaotic, I'm not in my joy. I'm not in alignment. So that's how I make sacred space is I clear everything out that I can, put everything away. But if I find that I'm not going to be able to do it, okay, let's just take this moment. Take this one moment and hold my container in holiness. You know, so that's where I try.
I love that you're releasing.
Mindful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shannon, did you want to say something?
No, I would
No.
Oh.
I can't believe that's the first time that's happened.
Like now I'm like trying extra hard to be conscious to not talk over people and stuff like that.
No, don't do
have
that.
a silence. And
This
now
is
it's like,
madness.
no, now the brain is like, can't handle the situation. Just reset, go with the flow. So
yeah, no, it's madness and chaos in here. Yeah. Just do it. We are our authentic selves. Just roll.
Go for it.
But so I'll piggyback off of that, I guess. So the motto actually of Sacred Temple Wellness, the point of the name of the company, is that your body is your sacred temple because your body houses your mind and your soul. So you need all three running in synchronicity in order to have that most fulfilling life. And people often will just like separate them like as different kind of categories. So like, for example, when people come to get treatments and stuff through me, guidance and everything, the first thing that we actually look at that I'll break down and be like, okay, what's your diet? How much sleep are you getting? How much water are you drinking? How much are you dancing? You know, and not just like physically like dancing, but it's the things that make you feel free, the things that are in that moment. And dance is a really good example to use too, because dance is one of those very mindful kind of things like Shannon Brown was just talking about, to where when you're in that moment, even if you're not a good dancer, it doesn't matter. You just be crazy. That's what I do. I have two left feet's not the word for it. You know, like it doesn't end well, but I enjoy every second of it because in that moment, you forget your name. You forget your job. You forget the roles you wear. You forget your future. You forget your past. All of it goes away because it's just that moment. So I try to see how much the client is embodying the moment. Because if you understand that your body, if you're putting good things into your body, that's going to help your mind think clearer. So if your mind can think clearer, then you can fully understand the experiences you go through, because the experiences are lessons that teach your soul. And then if the soul's healthy, the body feels good and wants to do things like dance. So it's very, very much that mic drop moment there Shannon Brown just gave, of that mindful moment of just kind of moving everything else out around and be like, all right, there's too much stuff, but you know what? I'm here. I'm present. I have this. You're listening to yourself. Like, it's so cool. Like, I love to see stuff like that. It is just so freaking cool. And people think they need all these big, complicated stuff to take care of that. The simple answer is usually the best one. And we're all capable of doing this. So don't limit yourself to thinking you need something bigger. It really is just taking that moment. I love it.
Love that. Yeah.
Absolutely. The idea of, you know, the unity of self, right? And then taking that and putting that unity of self in a space where you can experience all of those things, like you talked about dancing specifically. It's anything like that you can be totally free, and those things connect together, where you are spiritually coming alive in this activity. When you're dancing, that's a spiritual awakening you're having, you know, like Christina said, she's got two left feet, like, you know, it's a mess, but she doesn't care. Like, that's the point of that, right? Is doing the thing for the joy of the thing, whatever it is. and being in that space. And sometimes it's not a matter of, like dance and things like that, where you're just seeking joy. Sometimes you're seeking peace, and those can look differently when you're doing that, because you might need that centering and that tapping into yourself and the clearing out. If you're dancing, unless you've got the headset on and you're dancing to your own tune, it's usually an interactive kind of thing. The music is playing, other people are doing it, you're doing your whole thing. But when you're looking for that connected self, where you can just kind of, tune it all out, it's that same thing. You're a sacred space, so look for a space that feels sacred to you. So for Shannon's instance, it was that one little corner. You could be in a crowded mall, but there's a little corner that has, a little topiary garden or whatever that's just like this display. If you do it right, you can go right in front of that thing and tune out the rest of the world that's behind you. Put your earplugs in and go right in that space and find that center. And sometimes it's just a matter of finding it for a moment to give you that little bit of peace. But it's that going through life with the understanding that you are a sacred container, and as you are interacting with life, there are things in that space that are going to challenge that. And so it's kind of like, checking back in with yourself and resetting and finding that way to just be okay with you, who you are, and how those things connect together, which is, it's a whole different podcast. Maybe we'll do that one next. How to hear that, and and how it flows together. But yeah, and for those of you who are looking for, I guess, how to start sacred spaces, there's so many things out there that you can find on the internet and everything. Obviously, everybody in this community has, very basic ways to get involved and to kind of notate that. But I would challenge you to make a list of what it is you're doing already in your life. And I bet there's things on there already that are a sacred space for you, but you're not really connected to it enough to be aware of that. And so just start noticing, be a noticer of your own life, and just start noticing all of those things that you're doing. And even if you keep a little journal, hey, I'm giving you permission to buy a journal. Yes, you will use it. No, you can't have too many.
She's speaking my language.
Right? There you go. Get out there and buy the journals and do the things. Is there anything that's been, I guess, more of a challenge in your life when it comes to this sacred space that we're talking about? And not, internally with you, but also in listening and knowing when it is that you need to kind of like get in the zone, so to speak, and go find those, spaces. Is there anything specifically that's been coming in that's been a challenge for that, and that you've found different ways to kind of overcome it?
Well, my big challenge is I am taking care of my parents. And my lesson this year so far, or I guess maybe my life lesson, and I'm just now getting it, it's taken a long time, is to stop pushing and to allow them to be who they need to be. And also accept the fact that they don't have to do the same. They don't have to be reciprocal in it. Like if I'm allowing you to be you, I guess before it was like, well, then you need to allow me to be me, but that's not ever going to happen, which I'm okay with now. But I do find that since I've been doing a lot, I've had that whatever light bulb moment come on, 62 years later, that things that used to really bother me, that my mom would say, and she's not malicious, She doesn't, she just, and also she has dementia. So there's not a big filter like there used to be, like she does say things that she would have come out of her mouth before. I can spring back so much faster now because I'm like, this is who she is. And that's the hardest part too for me right now, is watching two people not be them anymore, not be the person that they were, right? But then again, I think about, I can't even imagine what my family went through like 30 years ago when I went through the spiritual change that I did, and how they had to handle, like, she's not the same person anymore. She's not who we knew. This is what we expected from her, and we're not getting that anymore because she's doing this now. It was pretty abrupt. So again, that's me. That's what I'm working with. And not just with my parents, but also my children and people that come into my lives that maybe and then of course they're mirroring back to me, maybe something that if there's something about them that I'm not real keen on, okay, what part of me am I not real keen on? Why is this triggering me? Okay, I'm allowing you to be you, but then if I don't want to be that, then I need to say, okay, this is not me, and I can release it. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I am right now. And then also, and we talked about this before, and I'm sure probably all of our podcasts, and being okay with the fact that that's who I am, and when these girl moments do come up, it's okay because I'm human and I'm having this human experience, and this human experience is allowing me to, I even think Christina said it earlier, or it might have been the last one, I don't know. These experiences are allowing me to continue forward as I continue forward on the path of joy and ease and grace. So taking the good out of maybe every experience. And that's another journey I'm on too. Aren't we all, right?
I love it. You're choosing to see both sides of the experience, acknowledging that one side of the experience is a negative one and the other side of the experience is a positive one. What lesson are you taking from the negative aspect? And then what part of the positive are you bringing into your body? That's, in your mindset. Like, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Agreed.
And I can definitely relate with you with, as we're literally speaking, I don't know if you've noticed, I keep looking at my phone. I'm having some grandma drama. So she is 94 and I'm her caretaker. So, I'm her power of attorney and all that stuff. I'm getting messages from the nurse and all that stuff right now. So that's fun. She has early onset dementia, but she's also very healthy. Her body's very healthy. The only medication she needs is potassium and a water pill so she doesn't retain too much water. And she's fully mobile. She does not need a cane, a walker, or anything. So she is a force to be reckoned with. And seeing her, like, the behaviors that she exhibits now were traits that, like, she's always kind of had, like, my entire life, like the whole self-centered, dramatic kind of thing. But I understand her being born, in the 40s, moving from Italy and then growing up here in her teenage years, she had to be a very different person, in order to be okay in life. So, like, I see these things, but, like, it really comes out now, and it comes out over the dumbest stuff, like over a cookie. She caused a riot over a cookie.
I love her so much.
That's an episode all on its own. But so I totally understand what you're going through. It's seeing somebody that you love change, especially somebody that was very self-sufficient, took care of everything and all that kind of stuff. And then now she acts like a toddler, and it's like, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing. What was the original question? Because now my mind has gone so far from that. Can you mind repeating?
Yeah, no, I think you answered it. It's like, what's been a challenge and how have you been, and overcoming it. But what I like about both of you, what you just shared, but you said, you know, she's like a toddler, right? But she threw a riot over a cookie. And I think that is the most fucking amazing thing ever. Because like, this is exactly what we're talking about though, right? Like, it's holding a sacred space for yourself, understanding your own awareness and knowing what it is that you want that brings you joy and breaking it down to the purity of it. And that's exactly what she did. She was like, I want this cookie. I don't know the circumstances, obviously, but, and we don't need to, but like they, you know,
I can say, so it definitely played into that. It's because the mind thinks simpler at that point. So she, you know, the cookie was actually not for her. It was for one of her friends who's a
beautiful.
diabetic who can't have a cookie. But to her, that didn't matter. So she calls him Mucho. We don't know why she calls him Mucho, but that's not his name. But she calls him Mucho. And he couldn't have, she wanted to give him her cookie. And the nurse said, no, Aurelia, you can't do that. You can't give him a cookie. You know, he's diabetic. It's not good for him. He's going to get sick. And she lost it. And she pushed all her food away and stood up and started yelling and screaming, saying, this is America. I moved here when I was a teenager. You can't tell us what to do. This is the country of the free. This man can have a cookie if he wants it. But the thing is, like, she's in a nursing home that has memory patients. So like, they're all like, she brings the life there. They're all on her side. They're all pushing her food away. They're all screaming, this is America. She's literally walking back and forth. The nurse is saying, like, I was waiting for your grandmother to make like a picket sign and be like, this is America. Give the man a cookie. That's the level of passion that she took this to. They literally had to remove her from the dining area because they have a communal dining area because this place is set up like a hotel. It's not like your standard nursing home. They have separate apartments. They have their living spaces. The nurse is telling me, you know, we had to remove your grandmother from the communal area, but I'm just seeing in my head my little like 4'0" grandmother being drug out of the room with two men with her arms, like holding her arms to her, screaming, this is America. Like that's what I'm seeing, because that's what it definitely was. And I asked the nurse, the final thing, I was like, please tell me you got this on video. She's like, no. She's like, Miss Bruce, I can't do that. I can't video. I was like, no, you have full permission to video my grandmother. I was like, I need these things. I was like, this has to go down in our family. Like,
yes. Yeah, I'm signed up for the sitcom right now.
So, but no, you're 100% right. She was in that moment, and without all the other burdens on her mind, she was able to focus on that to give that man a cookie.
Give that man a cookie.
I love it. Yeah. And now I want to like call them up and be like, did you not have diabetic cookies that you can give this man? Like, why are there not diabetic cookies? Isn't that a thing?
Exactly. Like, you can do that. You can have like the sugar-free ones. I mean, I don't know the restrictions on this man's diet, but like,
right. I don't know, but we're fighting for him too now.
Exactly. Yeah. No, this is a communal effort now.
It's a communal effort.
I think we need to teach her. Give that man a cookie.
Give that man a cookie.
What does that mean? Well, let me tell you a story.
I wrote it down. This is America. Give that man a cookie. I was like, I don't want to forget that. That's going in the show notes. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
But that's it. I mean, that's you know, you are your sacred space. and for, you know, for your grandmother, that was her sacred space, is this friend too, you know?
Yep. So I learn by example. You know, I mean, one day I'll probably be causing my own riots in a nursing home. I know this is unstable.
Probably, she says.
But I learned from that example. And that is something that actually really does appeal to me, is, you know, even astrology wise, like I'm a Libra moon, I will stick up for the underdog, even if the underdog's wrong. Like, you know, I will make sure once I see somebody else being taken advantage of, not being able to be free, you know, not getting the same as somebody else, I'm just instantly on fire. So it's like, you know what, clearly it runs in the family. And, you know, I take that as an example of, you know what, it was she caused their first ever riot. The nurse said they've never had like all the patients get involved before. That was the first one they've ever had.
That's
But
so amazing.
you know, if
you're an
reassuring
artist,
to
I would
have
love.
that-
Sorry, I was gonna say, if you're an artist, I would
I'm
love
done.
to have art on this. I need it. I need it in my life. But yeah, you're right. It was reassuring. Like, yeah, that she
hold
she
that
got,
moment. Hold that moment.
yeah. Well, I think that's the best way to end this episode because I don't think that we can top that. So we might just have to shut the whole podcast down, really. I mean,
I got plenty of more Nana stories. That's it, because we call her Nana.
yeah.
Oh, she has been there 2 years. It's like almost 2.5, and it's been fun. It's been horrendous, but it's been fun because I've been called.
Right.
She's called the police a number of times. I've had to go down there every time. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that needs a whole other podcast just for Nana, not a day in the life.
We should
Nana,
just have a
day in the
Nana
life.
podcast. Honestly, I could probably even have her on. Like she would totally
Oh my
come on
God.
and talk to everybody. She's good like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the name of the episode is "This Is America. Give That Man a Cookie." Clearly.
Yes.
Without a doubt. So, on that note, we appreciate you for being with us today. Let's real quickly just let people know where they can find us on the interwebs. Christina, if you want to go first this time.
Sure. So you can find me at sacredtemplewellness.com. You can find me and then anybody on my team and my affiliates and stuff like that. So we want to try and provide the best help in the community in the direction that you need it. So yeah, come over to sacredtemplewellness.com. You can Google me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm hanging out in the Bring Joy Forward community. So.
And you can find me in the Bring Joy Forward community.
And same, you'll find all of their contact information if you go to bringjoyforward.com. Under the directory, you'll see every way to get in touch with all three of us, really, from that space. And on that note, we thank you and hope that you can do all that you can to bring joy forward. You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com. And we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.